And as the president, we're going to run the country until such time. Lately, all Venezuelan military capacities were
a key Trump irritant simply taken by U.S.
From the President of the United States.
The United States launched large-scale military strikes on Venezuela early Saturday, marking Washington's most direct intervention in the country in decades. President Donald Trump said the operation resulted in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who were flown out of the country following the assault. U.S. officials say the operation involved elite American special forces and was conducted alongside U.S. law enforcement agencies. The White House has described the action as a large-scale strike, with further details expected later today. U.S. officials say Maduro will now face criminal charges in the United States, where he was indicted in 2020 on narco-terrorism charges related to alleged cocaine trafficking. Strikes were also reported in the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. Venezuela's ruling party said civilians and military personnel were killed, though no official casualty figures have been released. Venezuela's government has condemned the operation as a foreign invasion, with senior officials warning against cooperation with U.S. forces and vowing resistance as uncertainty grips the country. The operation represents the most dramatic U.S. action in Latin America since the 1989 invasion of Panama, and signals a major turning point in U.S.-Venezuela relations. The United States launched large
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakakwidash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the Ruel, and peace and citations to you fellow Wakian pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth, waking up the rest of the elect, so Yahweh Shai could return and redeem us up on out of here, out of this wicked kingdom, out of this wicked world, man. All right, and establish righteousness upon the face of the earth. Quick lesson, man. You know, as everybody knows, as of right now, the United States, attacked Venezuela and captured Maduro and his wife, all right, in a operation, and civilians were unalived, and military personnel were Venezuela military personnel were unalived too. But like they said, no number has been released. But people have been unalived. Venezuelan civilians and military personnel have been unalived. Okay, as a result of this. Okay, and I want to bring this out. I was watching this brother's video. All right, just recently. All right, brother GMS, Samak Ephraim 777/7. Okay. But yeah, watch this video, man. Very edifying. But he brought this article out. The Times of Israel. All right. And it says Venezuelan defense minister says country will resist foreign troops. Accuses U.S. of striking civilian areas. Okay, so the Venezuelan defense. All right. Their defense minister, all right. They're ready to they're ready to attack back. Because they just got struck down, or they got blindsided. It's like they got blindsided by the United States. All right. As a thief in the night, the United States did that operation, and they couldn't respond fast enough. All right, but if Venezuela, the defense minister says, they'll strike back. They'll attack back, any American defense, all right, any resistance, okay? They're going to resist back, okay? Because civilians were unalived.
Large-scale military strikes on Venezuela.
Okay,
what do you mean, U.S.?
We're going to...
The United States hit Venezuela with a large-scale strike early Saturday and said its president, Nicolas Maduro, had been captured and flown out of the country. Here's what to know. Multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft were seen in Caracas in the early hours of Saturday morning. Maduro's government immediately accused the US of an imperialist attack on civilian and military installations. US President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that Maduro had been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. He added that the operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. The apparent attack itself lasted less than 30 minutes. Trump said in his social media post that the strike was carried out successfully. It comes after the Trump administration has escalated pressure on Maduro, who has decried US military operations against alleged drug traffickers as a thinly veiled effort to oust him from power. It was not immediately clear who was running the country, and Maduro's whereabouts were not immediately known.
So yeah, man, you know, United States using that facade or fake allegations of Venezuela not doing anything about drug trafficking into the United States when America does. They use countries like Venezuela, these Latin countries, to do so. Or they set up these cartels and these drug lords and whatnot in these Latin countries and these gangs and cartels, okay? And they set up their own puppet presidents like Maduro and whatnot, are in these Latin countries, and they make them and they push them to push these drugs, all right, drug trafficking to America, all right, okay, and they blame it on these Latin countries when it's really America, all right. America, you know, America sets up these cartels, these drug lords, these fake presidents, these puppet presidents, all right, in these Latin countries, man, all right, and you know they make them, you know, push these drugs into America, all right, you know, so it's really America doing that, man, and America used that, all right, as a way, all right, as an excuse, all right, to justify themselves taking over Venezuela, all right, at least starting to take over Venezuela and their president, okay. Because really America wants to take their oil, their resources, all right, to gear it for war, okay. And I seen something. Let me look it up if it's true. I don't know if it's Trump wants Cuba next. Yep. Just recently, 2 hours ago, Trump signals U.S. may expand focus to Cuba amid Venezuela operation. So, hey, they're you know, they're going for more than just Venezuela. All right, they're gonna go for other Latin countries like Cuba. Okay, and Cuba has a lot of resources too. All right, oil and whatnot. Okay. And these Caribbean and Central American and these South American countries, Latin countries, have a lot of resources. All right. And why is the United States, all right, why are they starting to go after these countries, man? All right. And take them over and whatnot? It's because of the resources. Why does the United States need these resources? To gear up for war, World War III. Okay. All right. Because Iran declared all-out war on the West. United States, all right, and then what did the United States do right after that? All right, they attacked Venezuela, took their president, all right. Why would they do that? And they blamed it on drugs, when really they just want to take over that country for its oil, all right. Because America and these Edomites, all right, they're liars, man, all right. They're gonna lie and sit, you know, make themselves look like the good guy when really they're just gearing up for war, all right, to go to war with these BRICS nations. And I looked up, you know, I asked Google, I looked up on Google, does the BRICS nations back up Venezuela? It says, yes, key BRICS nations like Russia, China provide significant backing to Venezuela, offering diplomatic support, economic ties like oil deals, and military cooperation, viewing Venezuela as an important ally against, you know, etc. So, yeah, this is going to cause stirring. This is going to cause friction between these BRICS nations, which are against America. Okay. All right. Okay, because Venezuela, you know, they're backed by these BRICS nations. All right, which is BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia. What is the I for? Iran, and C is for China. Okay. All right, and they got other little small countries, all right, of lesser power, all right, being backed by them, okay, that they're backing, you know, that are picking their side, okay, which BRICS is the, you know, is going to be one side of this World War III. Okay, just like World War II had two sides, the Axis powers and the Allied powers. Okay, this World War III is gonna have its sides of powers. All right, the BRICS, and then the United States and Israel and whatnot. In all these countries, there's a lot of countries, man. All right, even Canada. All right. What else? Oh, what other countries like Turkey? And these other countries that are despising America now. That used to be on America's side. Okay, they're done dealing with America. Okay, because America has pushed them to the limit. All right, done them dirty. Okay, and they're like, you know what? Forget this shit, man. We're tired of this bullshit, and they're doing their own thing, and they're considering going to the BRICS. Okay, but at the same time, still, the United States, all right, the petrodollar is still in control of the whole earth right now. Still, all right, mainly. But hey, there was I forgot what countries. It was one of the BRICS nations. They actually did some trading. All right, did some currency, some buying and selling with the BRICS currency, man. All right, just recently. All right, which is a very big move. All right, to World War III. With the petrodollar falling, and really the petrodollar could fall at any minute, really. Okay, because it's backed by debt now. It's not backed by gold no more. Okay. And BRICS, their currency is backed by resources, gold and whatnot. But yeah, man. So yeah, hey, we're getting closer, man. All right, every day, every other day, we wake up. It's something new, closer to the return of Yahweh Shai. All right, prophecy popping off the page. Okay. All right. So yeah. It's lucky. Damn it. I hate when YouTube does that shit. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna bring out some precepts. All right, this is Zephaniah 3:8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations." All right, these heathen nations. All right, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. All right, so the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is behind all this, making America, all right, attack these countries, all right, these Latin countries, and trying to control their resources for war, because that's exactly what the United States is doing, man. All right, they're gonna say something else is because they're trying to stop the drug trafficking and whatnot, when really they're doing it. But really, what they want to do is take the resources, all right? Because Venezuela, all right, is backed by who? Their enemies. The United States is the enemies, the BRICS, all right? So that, hey, America is attacking Venezuela and taking them over is a big step, all right, is a big thing, all right, for war. That's a war move right there, man. Because Venezuela is not with the United States, okay? They're backed by the BRICS nations. Okay, and that's a power move right there, But Venezuela is closer to America, not geopolitically, but geographically, they're closer to America. So, hey, if America, it's that's a power move, for America to take a spot with a lot of oil that's close to them. Hey, that's a good move for America, because what America and these countries are doing, all right, the same thing was being done during the times right before World War II. All right, America is doing the same thing that Germany was doing, okay, before World War II. All right, they're gathering up all the JEWs, all right, the JEW, the fake JEWs, all right, and putting them in concentration camps, okay. And they're also taking over these other countries, the European countries, all right, for resources to gather up for war, all right. Hey, the United States is doing the same thing, man, All right, putting the Latinos, blacks, and homeless people in concentration camps and FEMA camps and deporting them and whatnot, getting them out of the country. Okay. All right. What else? And the United States is trying to take over nearby countries. All right, to gather up and gear for war, and that's what the Lord is doing. He's making these countries do that, getting ready for World War III, so the Lord could judge them and destroy them. Okay. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even on my fierce anger. Okay. So, hey, the Lord is gathering these nations up, gearing them up for war. All right. Joel 3:2, it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right. That's talking about the Middle East. All right. And will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Okay, so because these heathens have scattered our people all the way, all around the world, our people have been placed amongst these heathens all around the world, man. Okay, and they've parted the Lord's land. Okay, Israel. All right, they've taken it for their possession. Okay, the Ishmaelites, the Palestinians. All right, and then now the capital I people, Israel people. Okay, they taken the Lord's land, put it, taking it for their possession. Okay, that's why the Lord is starting World War III, because the Lord's tired of this shit, man. All right, it's time for Yahushua to return and redeem his people and establish righteousness upon the earth and put you heathens down and put you heathens under our feet as slaves, as the Lord created y'all to be, as slaves. Okay, Joel 3:14. I can read the whole thing, man. Joel 3:9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Hey, Iran, they declared war on the west. All right, Venezuela, they said, the defense minister said, hey, they're gonna, strike back. They're gonna resist. All right, the United States, our army forces, if they attack again, and who's backing up Venezuela? The BRICS. All right, Russia. Okay, Brazil and Russia and China. They're the main military ones. Okay, it says beat your plowshares into swords, and plowshares is harvesting, agriculture, working instruments into swords. Swords is, we all know what a sword is, a fighting instrument, a killing instrument, a war instrument. Okay, and your pruning hooks into spears. All right, same thing. Let the weak say I'm strong. Okay, Venezuela is a weak country compared to America. Okay, and these countries, they're saying, fuck it, man. Iran is a weak country compared to America. But they said, fuck it. We're going to war. We're declaring war on you, man. Because hey, they got the bear, Russia, Magog backing them up. All right, and China backing them up. They're gearing up for war. This whole time, they've been gearing up for war. All right, building nuclear missiles. All right, preparing for war, getting their people ready for war. All right, China, the past half decade have been preparing their people for war. All right, making their men more mighty. All right, It says, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down. O Lord, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord is gonna, is making these countries go to war, and they're eventually gonna, there's gonna be a ground war. All right, the BRICS versus the West. Okay, in the valley of Jehoshaphat in the Middle East, Armageddon. Okay, put ye, verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, their wickedness is great. Multitudes, all right, armies, okay, ground troops in the Valley of Decision, or the Middle East, okay, where World War III is going to start. For the day of the Lord is near the Valley of Decision, okay? So yeah, man, that's what this is all leading to, okay? America attacking Venezuela, all right? That's a power move, all right, for World War III, you know? Let me see. Ezekiel 38, and yeah. And 1, it says, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, okay? This is talking about Russia, okay? The land of Russia, all right? And what people rule or are established in the land of Russia, all right? The East Asia, all right? Well, it's really Middle East Asia. But, because Europe is really basically West Asia, all right? But yeah, you know, the land of Russia, it's Putin and the Russians, the Edomite Russians, man, okay? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all right? So these other heathen nations like Persia, all right? Who are the modern day Persians? Iran, Ethiopia, all right? And Libya, you know, talking about these African nations, okay? You know, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer, all right? And all his bands, the house of Togomar, North Quarters, and all the bands and many people with them. So, hey, those that are going to be allied with Russia, they're going to be geared up and side with Russia too, man. Okay? You know, that's why it goes into Gomer and Togomar, all right? Ethiopia, Persia, and Libya, all right, preparing themselves for war with Gog and Magog, okay? All right, which is talking about Russia, all right? Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Gog and Magog, talking about Russia, is going to be a guard unto these little countries like Venezuela, all right, Brazil, all right, India, okay, these African countries, all right, and all these countries that, you know, that are going to side with them, all right, these small countries, these heathen small countries that are, you know, Iran, you know, they're a weak country compared to America, but hey, they're saying, you know, we're strong now, man. You know, let the weak say I'm strong. All right, declaring war on America. All right. After many days thou shalt be visited in the verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter days. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of my people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Yeah, verse 9, all right, I meant to skip to 9. Thou shalt ascend, come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into my mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Yeah, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. And that's talking about America, okay? I will go to them that are at rest, and dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten cattle and goods and dwell in the midst of the land. Okay, so yeah, man, you know, continue on, you know. So Russia, you know, and whatnot, and China, you know, they're gonna possibly attack America too, because it's written, you know. All right, you know, America might get attacked, you know, by the BRICS nations. All right, because that's talking about America, the land of unwalled villages that dwell safely, neither having bars nor gates. It also says, all right, it says to take a great spoil, you know. So hey, America, might be attacked, man. Well, they will, by the foreign troops that are going to be coming over here, man. So the civilians of America, the masses of America, are going to be attacked, all right, by these foreign troops, these Gurga troops, all right. Even BRICS nations, they're going to be invading America, all right, during World War III, while World War III is going to be going off in the Middle East too. So all hell's going to be broken loose, man. All right, like in what will I? Yeah, Luke 12:49, it says, I am come to send fire on earth. All right, Yahushua is coming to send fire on earth, man, to judge you wicked people. And what will I if it already be kindled? So yeah, man. All right, so prepare for that, man. It's only going to get worse and worse.